Hey everyone, and welcome back. So, you guys have given us a bunch of research on AI and how it's going to shake up the American workforce.
Yeah.
McKinsey's predicting some pretty big changes by 2030,
Ah,
and we're going to dive deep into all of it today. So,
right.
get ready. We'll be looking at a few key questions. Like, just how much is AI going to change the types of jobs out there? Is it going to be like a total job apocalypse, or are there going to be some hidden opportunities within all these changes?
Right.
And most importantly, what does it all mean for you, given your own interests and career goals?
hmm
We've got our AI expert here to help us make sense of it all.
It's actually interesting to see that we're already in the middle of a big shift in the job market,
Oh, really?
even before AI really makes its impact.
Really? Is that even possible? I thought AI was still like way off in the future.
Well, the pandemic kind of sped up a trend that was already happening.
Oh,
Get this. Between 2019 and 2022,
Okay.
a whopping 8.6 million Americans switched occupations. That's a 50% increase compared to the 3 years before
Wow, that's a lot of people jumping ship.
that.
So, is that just because of the pandemic, or is there something bigger happening here?
Well, the pandemic was more like a catalyst, I think,
Okay.
not really the main cause.
Yep.
People were already starting to think differently about their careers and priorities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, where were all these people going? Like, what jobs were they leaving, and what were they heading towards?
Well, there was a definite pattern.
Oh,
People were leaving food service jobs, retail, and office support roles, and they were moving into management, professional roles, and transportation services.
interesting. Do you think this is a sign of what's to come?
Yeah,
Like, are we going to see a shift towards jobs that need more specialized skills?
absolutely. And with generative AI coming up, things are about to get even more interesting.
Okay, hold on. What exactly is generative AI?
Sure.
I hear that term a lot, but I'm not really sure what it means.
Think of generative AI as a type of artificial intelligence that can actually create new stuff,
Hmm.
like text, images, even code.
Whoa.
It's different from the normal automation we're used to,
Right.
which is more about automating those repetitive tasks.
Got it. So, generative AI is like having a super spell check that can write your reports and stuff.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Even without generative AI, automation was already predicted to take over tasks that represent something like 21.5% of US work hours by 2030.
Okay.
But now, with generative AI in the picture, that number jumps to almost 30%.
Okay, that's a pretty big jump. But does more automation automatically mean fewer jobs?
It's not that straightforward.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean mass unemployment.
Okay.
It's more like a shift in the types of jobs that'll be in demand.
So some jobs are going to shrink while others are going to grow.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to figure out which jobs are most likely to be affected.
Okay, let's start with the good news first. What are the hot career fields of the future? Where should people be focusing their energy?
Healthcare is booming.
Yeah.
By 2030, they're predicting it'll add a whopping 5.5 million new jobs.
Whoa.
We're talking everything from like healthcare aides and technicians to specialized medical professionals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
People are living longer, and we're going to need more and more healthcare services.
exactly.
What other fields are looking good?
STEM careers are still in high demand,
Oh, wow.
even with the recent layoffs in tech.
Really?
We're looking at a potential 23% increase in demand for STEM professionals by 2030.
Okay.
And surprisingly, transportation services are also projected to grow by about 9%.
Okay, so we've got healthcare, tech, and transportation. But it can't all be good news, Renee.
Yeah.
What about the jobs that are probably going to shrink?
Right.
What should people be aware of?
It's important to remember that we're not talking about jobs suddenly disappearing overnight.
Right.
It's more of a gradual decline in demand for certain roles.
So, like a slow fade instead of a sudden drop?
Exactly. We're likely to see fewer office support roles, like clerks and administrative assistants, as well as customer service positions that rely heavily on repetitive tasks.
It sounds like anyone in those roles might want to start thinking about like learning new skills or finding a different path.
Yeah, I agree.
What other areas are projected to decline?
Food service jobs are also expected to decline.
Okay.
And even though US manufacturing overall might actually grow,
Ah,
those traditional production jobs within manufacturing could actually shrink.
this all makes you think.
Yeah.
Is just adapting our skills or career paths really enough to stay ahead of the curve?
Right.
Or do we need bigger changes to make sure everyone benefits from all this new technology? I mean, what's the point of all this progress if it leaves a bunch of people behind?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
And it's something we need to be thinking about seriously as a society. How do we make sure everyone has the chance to succeed in this new world of work?
Yeah,
It's a big question.
it is.
Yeah, it really shows that we need to be thinking about things like education and retraining programs.
Yeah.
How can we equip people with the skills they're going to need to make it in this crazy, constantly changing job market?
Yeah, it's one thing to talk about these trends,
Right.
but it's a whole other thing to actually figure out what it means for each person out there.
And it's not just about tech skills either.
Right.
We talked earlier about those social emotional skills, things like communication, collaboration, problem solving, even creativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we help people develop those really human skills?
Right, because those are the things that'll set us apart from the machines, right?
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of lifelong learning.
Okay.
Not just at work, but in our schools too.
Yep.
We need to be flexible and always willing to learn new things.
It honestly sounds like a huge challenge.
It is, but it's also a huge opportunity
Mhm.
if we can get this right.
Yeah.
If we can figure out how to prepare people for the future of work, we can build a world where work is more fulfilling and meaningful for everybody.
So we've talked about the skills we'll need in the future.
Right.
What about the actual nature of work itself? How is AI going to change the way we work day to day? I mean, are we all just going to be sitting around watching robots do our jobs?
That's a fear a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really what the future holds.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ways AI will impact us is in knowledge work.
Okay.
Think about professions like lawyers, doctors, engineers, even software developers. AI is going to become a really powerful tool for these professionals.
So it's not about AI replacing these jobs,
Right.
but more like enhancing them,
Exactly.
making them easier or more efficient.
Imagine a doctor who can use AI to analyze medical images
Wow.
and figure out potential diagnoses in seconds.
That's amazing.
Or a lawyer who can use AI to go through tons of documents to find the most important information.
Right.
AI can handle those data heavy tasks, freeing up professionals to focus on the human side of their work.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's like AI does the boring stuff.
Yeah.
So humans can focus on things that need creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence.
Well, exactly.
But what about people who aren't in those highly skilled professions? How's AI going to impact their jobs?
That's where things get a bit trickier.
Okay.
AI is definitely going to have a big impact on jobs that involve a lot of repetitive tasks,
Okay.
especially in manufacturing and customer service.
So we could see fewer people working on assembly lines
Potentially.
or answering phones.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to those workers?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But even in those fields, I think AI is less likely to totally get rid of human jobs.
Okay.
It's more likely to create a shift towards roles that need higher level skills.
Yeah.
Like problem solving, critical thinking, and adaptability.
So for those folks, the key is going to be to upskill and adapt to how their industries are changing.
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds like education and training are going to be more important than ever.
Absolutely. We got to make sure people have access to the resources they need to stay ahead of the game.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the downsides of AI,
Right.
the jobs that might be lost, the skills gap.
Mm,
But what of the good stuff?
yeah,
Can AI actually create new jobs and opportunities?
of course. AI is going to drive so much innovation
Oh, yeah.
across every industry you can imagine.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And with that innovation,
Mhm.
we're going to see completely new jobs pop up,
Good.
jobs that we can't even picture right now.
Can you give us some examples of what those jobs might look like?
Sure.
What are some of the new trends emerging?
It's tough to say for sure what the future holds,
Uh,
but we can look at what's happening now.
Okay.
We're already seeing a big demand for data scientists,
Mhm.
AI engineers,
Yeah.
and people who can design and put AI solutions into practice.
So for people who are tech savvy and into AI,
Right.
there are already plenty of jobs out there.
Exactly.
What about jobs that aren't directly related to AI development?
As AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, we'll see even more specialized roles popping up.
Okay.
Think about AI ethicists.
Whoa, what's that?
These folks will be making sure AI is used responsibly and ethically.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's interesting.
Or AI trainers.
What do they do?
They're the ones who'll be teaching machines how to learn and do specific tasks.
Wow, it's kind of mind blowing to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder
What's that?
if AI is going to be doing so much, what will be left for us humans to do? What's going to be our unique role in this future world of work?
That's a deep question.
It is.
I think our role will be to focus on what makes us human.
Okay.
Our creativity, our empathy, our ability to connect with each other on a real level.
So those soft skills we talked about earlier are going to be even more important than ever.
It's almost like the more advanced tech gets, the more important our human skills become.
Right.
It's a partnership. Humans and AI working side by side, using each other's strengths.
I really like that idea.
Yeah.
It's not about humans versus machines.
Right.
It's about figuring out how humans and machines can work together to create something even better than either could do alone.
Precisely. That's why it's so important to embrace this change.
Yeah.
And to focus on developing those human skills that will help us thrive in this new era of work.
You've given us so much to think about.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has.
Yeah.
We've talked about the great reshuffle, the rise of automation, the skills we'll need in the future, and the changing nature of work itself.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I want to change gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about something that's been on my mind this whole time.
Sure.
What about the ethical side of all this? AI is powerful,
Right.
and with great power comes great responsibility. We need to be thinking about how to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of the potential problems.
Yeah.
Like bias in algorithms and the possibility of job losses.
Right.
This isn't just about building the tech. It's about doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And thinking about the bigger picture.
It sounds like this conversation needs to include everyone.
Yeah.
Policymakers, tech people, business leaders, even everyday people like us.
It
We
does.
all need to be part of shaping the future we want.
Exactly. This isn't something that's going to just happen to us.
Yeah.
It's something we're going to create together.
Okay, wow, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
We've covered so much in this deep dive,
We have.
from the great reshuffle and the rise of automation to the skills of the future and the ethical side of AI.
It's been a lot.
We've really explored the many sides of what the future of work might look like.
It's a fascinating topic. Yeah, for sure it has.
But before we get lost in all these big ideas, let's think about what this means for you, the listener. You're probably wondering what all of this means for your own career and future.
Yeah, it's one thing to talk about trends.
Right.
But how do you actually take all this information and make it work for you?
So no more doom scrolling about robots taking over the world. Time to ditch the fear and focus on what we can control.
Exactly. Let's break it down into some steps you can take.
Yep.
First, be honest with yourself about your skills and where you stand in the job market.
Okay.
What are you good at? What do you need to work on? Where do you want to be in 5 or 10 years?
So it's all about self-awareness.
Yeah.
And like having a vision for your career goals.
Yes, and don't be afraid to get feedback from people.
Okay.
Talk to your coworkers, your mentors, maybe even old bosses. Get their take on your strengths and areas where you could grow.
So you've assessed your skills.
Right.
And you kind of know where you want to go, what's next.
Now think back to those hot career fields we talked about. Healthcare, STEM, transportation. Do any of those sound interesting to you? Do they match your skills?
Right.
Or maybe there's something specific within your field where you can become like a real expert.
So if you're passionate about healthcare or tech, those might be good paths to explore further.
Exactly.
Or maybe you already love what you do, but you need to level up your skills to stay competitive.
That's right. And that brings us to the next step. Build those skills of the future.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember, we talked about social emotional skills, digital literacy, being able to adapt to new tech like AI.
Right.
There's a ton of stuff out there to help people upskill.
Yeah.
Online courses, boot camps, even reading books and articles.
And don't forget about networking.
Oh, absolutely. Networking is huge.
Yeah.
Going to industry events, connecting with folks on LinkedIn, finding mentors.
Yeah.
All of that can help you stay ahead of the game.
Networking is so important.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding jobs. It's about learning from others, seeing new things, and building relationships.
For sure.
Okay, so we've assessed our skills, thought about some career paths, and started upskilling.
Yep.
What's the last piece?
Don't be afraid to try new things. The job market is changing so fast that you got to be flexible and open to new experiences.
Okay.
Maybe try a side project, volunteer in a different area.
Yeah.
Or even start a blog about something you're passionate about.
I love that.
It's all about exploring,
Yeah.
pushing yourself, and staying curious.
And remember, lifelong learning isn't just about keeping your job.
Right.
It's about personal growth and fulfillment.
It's about finding work that you actually enjoy.
Mm.
And that makes a difference in the world.
We've covered a ton today, haven't we?
We have, from the great reshuffle
Mm.
to the rise of automation to the skills of the future
Yeah.
and even the ethical side of AI.
But as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the most important thing to remember is
What's that?
this isn't the end. It's just the beginning.
It is.
The future of work isn't something that happens to us.
Right.
It's something we make.
And the best way to make a future we're all excited about is to stay informed, stay curious, and never stop learning.
That's so true. We hope this deep dive has sparked your imagination
Yeah.
and given you the tools and inspiration to not only handle this changing world of work, but to really thrive in it.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us today,
It's been a pleasure.
and we'll see you next time on the deep dive.